What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we are jumping into a little bit of a modification on the body kit that's going to be going on the Supra. So currently I'm running the Dolak, however you want to pronounce it, front bumper, and I have got another one, like a spare, a brand new one that we're going to be chucking on, and we're actually going to be painting this one as well, getting them all nice, matching side skirts, matching rear pods. But I'm not running the rear diffuser. I'm not a big rear diffuser fan on Supras. I like the kind of shape of the back and I like the rear pods to curve up. So what I'm gonna do is, as you can see, that's the back. See that little bit that sticks down? I've got that black line, which is actually an inaccurate black line, but whatever. Today I'm gonna be cutting that off and I'm gonna be filling the void that that creates with some fiberglass, just so that it's very simple, very subtle. So we're jumping in and doing that. I've got to head down, grab some fiberglass kits, and also I'm gonna get some expander foam because I'll show you the process of what I'm gonna do. I'm not saying this is the process, this is just what I'm gonna do, and you can follow along. Now, if these are the kind of videos that you guys like, please hit like, please hit subscribe. It really, really helps the channel out. I am scraping my way to 1,000 subscribers so I can have some more access to YouTube and be able to promote myself a little bit better. So if you could tap that subscribe, that'd be great. All right, let's jump in, guys. Okay, so yeah, as I said, the plan is to get rid of those little bits right there so that it looks more like this, you know what I mean? So it kind of slides up to the back and then it will be kind of matching into here. Not obviously as much as that, but you know what I mean? So that angle is gonna come up. That little step out there is gonna be gloss black. That's gonna be the color of the car. So, you know, kind of slide up. That goes around the exhaust. And that one obviously doesn't. That's why they're a little bit different, so don't stress out. I did a little bit yesterday. So I've got some expander foam just back there, and what I'm gonna do is get in here, clean all this out, all this rubbish here, all this rubbish here, spray expander foam all in there, fill that gap right up, get right in the corners and so on both of them. And then once that dries, then I can come and lob this section off and then smoothing it all out so that, as you can see, it would match perfectly. You know what I mean? Yeah, you get where I'm coming from. You're picking up what I'm putting down, guys? All right. So let's clean it and fill it with foam. Alright, so there we go. So this is expanding foam, guys. It is quick curing expanding foam. So I've got that all in there. It should, with my theory being correct, expand into the little kind of crevices a little bit more, but as I sprayed it right into the corners. And you can see I've overdone it, but that's the point. So what I'm gonna do after this is get in there, cut down that line, cut all of that off, and then obviously grind back the edges. So let me show you. So I'll cut that line, grind this edge back, all this kind of gel coat off, and all that down there as well. And then I'm gonna fiberglass this. I'm gonna do 3 layers on the underside. Once I've done that and I've let that cure overnight, you know, fiberglass resin, so on and so forth, starting with resin, so don't stress. And then I'm gonna come in here and I'm actually gonna scrape all this out, which I've done in the past. It's not that bad. You can just kind of get rid of it quite easily. And then I'm gonna do another 3 layers on the inside underneath, just to make sure it's, you know, nice and perfect. And also so that then when I go back later, because then I'll come back and I'm gonna sand and grind this down so it's all nice and perfect. And so that I can, oh, I'll grab this without putting expander foam all over my hands. And so I can match
that line there, not the black one, obviously, because you can see it slightly off, but so I can match that underside perfectly. And then once that's done, she's good. We can get her ready for paint when the car eventually goes to get painted. All right, we're back. Yeah, nice, nice, nice. All right, so the expander foam has expanded, which is good. So now I'm going to, I was gonna cut all this like excess back, and then I was like, you know what? Maybe don't, because when I cut out the bottom, I wanna make sure that all of this stays in place. If I cut that right back and then I cut this off and it's only a small amount, blah, blah, blah. All right, so I'm gonna take this out into the garden and I'm gonna cut it. Guys, remember, if you're gonna be cutting fiberglass and all stuff like that, make sure you've got the right face masks and all that sort of stuff. Like, you don't wanna be breathing in fiberglass. If you do, I told you not to, so don't do that. Yeah, all right, I'm gonna go over there, I'm gonna cut it, and I'll bring it back and I'll show you exactly what it looks like when it's all cut. You guys don't need to see me cut that, or do you? Yeah, you wanna see it? All right, I'll bring you along. Let's go do it. All right, there we have it, guys. They are snipped off. Now I did a bit of filing, a bit of grinding and so on, so you can see that nice and even now. Like that thickness is the same as that thickness. If it doesn't look like it on camera, don't worry, it is. And then it's all nice and smooth all the way down. Now I followed, it's hard because this kind of curves like that. So I've, as you can see there? So I've followed that curve down, and the same on this one. Followed the curve down. Okay, so now I need to cut up my fiberglass into the sizes that I need. Let me just pop you down there. Need to cut up the sheets into the sizes that I need. As you can see on either side, I've ground down the gel coat and everything. So I've got about 2 to 3 centimeters all the way around the edge of where I'm gonna fiberglass. So I'll get in there now, make up my resin, and cut up my sheets, and then you can watch me do the fiberglass bit. Now, this is my first time fiberglassing, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, so I'm just reading the instructions and doing what they say. So if it stuffs up, it's on them. But this isn't a how-to, this is just come along with me and check out me cutting stuff up and fiberglassing the holes up. So let's get it. Okay guys, so I've got 200 mil resin, and I've done like 140 drops of hardener because it said 40 drops in cold weather for every 50 mil. So that's like 160 drops. Did a little bit less just because I don't want to go crazy. So now I've put the sheets down for all the drippage because there's going to be so much drippage. And yeah, so I've got 3 sheets either side. I'll layer them on. So I'll start with some resin on both of them, layer it on both of them and resin it, and then more and more and more and more. So let's do it. All right, so it's the next day. That has all set. It turns out I'm not good at fiberglassing. Nah, look, it's not too bad. It's actually, so for my first try, I'm pretty happy. I learned that, which anyone that's fiberglass probably knows, the first layer is the most important, and then once that's perfect, the second layer becomes most important. It sounds kind of obvious, but you have to get all the air bubbles out of your first layer. So I found that out from the first piece, which wasn't the greatest, but the second piece I did a lot better. Now, worst case scenario, it doesn't really matter if this all turns out rubbish because it is actually on the underside of the car. I'll show you on the car right now. So the pieces are actually like right under here, the bits that I'm doing. You won't even see them. They're gonna be black, they're gonna be underneath, and we're gonna bodywork them anyway. So this is what it kind of looks like. Yeah, not great, not great. Look, anyone that was expecting this to be great, soz, but yeah. So anyway, I've pulled out all the foam from the insides. I'm going to get rid of a bit more of this in a minute, and then I'm going to put 3 more layers on the inside of fiberglass to reinforce it nicely. And then once that's all dried, that's when the bodywork will happen. So we'll have to sand this back, sand this back. As you can see where the perfect line is. So once it's nice and thick inside, I can grind all this back to perfectly flat. And I can grind this down and so on. So you won't even see that stuff. And I'm actually, personally, I'm not going to do that little end piece. I'm gonna get the guys at the panel shop to help me with that because I want it to be perfect. We might have to put a little bit of Bondo in or whatever, but I'm sure that's gonna happen across the whole body kit because it's a second-hand piece, so they're gonna need to be repairs. But for now, I'm gonna clean up this, and then I'm gonna jump in and do the final 3 layers and then let it set.
All right, so that coat's done. That's the final coat. I did probably about another 2 layers inside, maybe 3. I did smaller pieces and kind of patched them around, overlapping and so on, just so I got really good coverage on the kind of weaker areas. And then I actually cut a piece, one more layer, I guess you could call it, on the underside where you saw that dip that I showed you earlier. It's filled that in. So when it all hardens and I can take to it with a flappy disc, I can flatten that underside off perfectly. It might need a tiny bit of filler, but wouldn't even notice if it did. And the inside's just for reinforcement, so then it's just shaping. And like I said, I'll get the panel shop to help me shape the most of it, just to make sure it's spot on, because they know exactly how to do it. So I'm gonna go in, have a shower, get the rest of this fiberglass off me, and probably edit some videos for you guys. Okay, and this is the final product, guys. Now, obviously, I need to come in here and do a lot of sanding work to get this line perfect, and the bottoms and the sides and so on. So I do need to come through and do some finalizing work, but I'm gonna include that into the video that I do the whole body kit for the Supra, because obviously, if you've been following the channel, you know that the Supra is gonna be getting painted, hence the reason I'm not worried about putting these on the paintwork. Literally in a few weeks, it's gonna be going in for paint. So at that point, I'm going to get the professionals to help me out, give me some advice on best ways to, it's probably just gonna be a sand job and a lot of hours, but that's fine. So as you can see inside, nice and reinforced in there with fiberglass. And that little like edge is now gone. So obviously, you can see all the excess there, that'll all be sanded down. And I've gone way over the top. You can see it's all bulged out, so that'll all be molded in and nice. And like I've said earlier in the video, that is literally right under the car. So even if we didn't make that perfectly flat, which we will, so don't worry, and if it didn't get painted black, which it is going to be painted black, that little section, you wouldn't even see it. So don't stress. So guys, that is those bits are done, essentially like modified how I wanted to, which I'm very happy with. Now I don't have that little section and I don't have to run a rear diffuser. So all good. But guys, remember when you do this, or if you do this, think about the air pockets and so on, because I think it's this one on the right. I'm gonna have to actually, see the air pocket in there? That's under 1 layer of fiberglass. So I'm going to have to get in there and grind it out. But as you can see, I don't know if you can see on camera, it's a lot thicker than it needs to be underneath. So I've got to grind a lot of that away anyway. So that's all good.